Well, it is 6:05, so I think we're going to get started. And like I said, we're recording so that way we can also share this to those that can't be here tonight. So, and if others pop in, we'll definitely be admitting them through the course of the evening. We're going to be on until 7, and we've got Mrs. Taylor, our principal, and Ms. Callahan, our school counselor, and she is going to take it away this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Thank you so much for opening up this opportunity for me to share with parents, community members, and all stakeholders what I can help and offer as a school counselor as part of our school's service to our students. So let me go ahead and share the screen here. Wrong one. Let's try again. Okay, that's the correct one. Okay, so today I'm going to just give an overview of what the Comprehensive School Counseling Program at Avalon entails. And I just want to start off by saying this week is National School Counseling Week. It's a week that recognizes the partnership between school counselors and other school staff to help meet the needs of all students in an educational setting. So that's from the 7th through the 11th of this week. Our Avalon School Counseling Program is aligned with the American School Counselor Association, which is ASCA for short. It is modeled after the national model, and it is aligned with the Ohio Standards for School Counselors through the Ohio Department of Education, which covers the K through 12 social emotional learning strategies. The Comprehensive School Counseling Program really looks at the mindsets and behaviors, which is attributes and strategies and approaches that students need to be successful in an education setting and then also in their career after school. So there are 6 standards, which the first is the Comprehensive School Counseling Program. So it really looks to how strategies can be preventative, responsive, and then aligned with Avalon's mission and goals. Standard 2 looks at direct services. So that would entail a curriculum, so whole school programming that meets the needs of our K through 3rd grade learners. Standard 3 is indirect services, and that is inclusive of partnerships and referrals on behalf of students and families. Standard 4 is evaluation and data. So really looking at the numbers to see how we are best able to meet the needs of our student learners. Standard 5 is leadership and advocacy. So really getting all that information together and seeing what are the needs of our students, what are the needs of our families, and then putting those things in place that could best meet their needs. And then standard 6 is professional responsibility. So engaging in professional development in order to improve on the program. So the program covers 3 domains. The first is social emotional. So really looking at how our students are feeling, what they're thinking, when they're having strong emotions, what coping strategies that they have in place or that they can access to be able to navigate through those emotions and then make the best choices. So if you're a parent, you're thinking, what exactly is that? So think about maybe if your child is at home and they're upset because they can't get their way at that moment. You've expressed to them something that you need them to do, but they're focused on their need being met or them getting their way at that moment. So from a social emotional standpoint, being able to give the student strategies where they can calm themselves down and be able to think rationally through things so that they can be able to make the best and safe choice. So that's really what social emotional learning is, giving students the strategies, the coping strategies, the language to express their emotions, whether that's sadness, anger, joy, elation, excitement, frustration, giving them a language to be able to articulate that in a safe way so that the others around them can know what they are needing at that moment and so that they can be able to prepare themselves in a safe way to get their needs met. The second component or domain area would be academic. And so basically that's the whole reason we're in school with our students, right? We want them to get the very best education that they can. And at Avalon, we are preparing students at each grade level for the next grade level. That is part of our mission and vision. So from a school counseling standpoint, really looking at strategies that'll help a student. So their growth mindset. Growth mindset is really just them examining their thoughts, thinking about this is something that I can't do now or I can't do yet, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible, right? So giving them that forethought to be able to, for them to be able to have that grit or determination, know that practice is necessary for improvement and for mastery, and that it's not about perfection, but it's about really growth. And meeting every student where they are, putting those supports in place, and ensuring that they can feel confident in their learning and continue to build on that. The third aspect or domain for the program is college and career. So that looks like, especially in the early intermediate grades for elementary school, exploring, making those connections. What are you interested in? What really lights a spark under you? Do you like to be outside? Do you like to work with your hands? Do you like music? Do you like to prepare things, cook, art? There's so many things. So just really walking alongside students and helping them to explore the things around them, help them to think about those things that bring them interest and excite them, and then helping them to make real world connections to the things that they're learning. So for example, if your child is learning about math or science, seeing how the world around them, the things that were creative, for example, my favorite thing is to talk about the iPhone because every student or family knows about it, even if you don't have one. It took creativity. It took someone seeing a real need, and then using math and science and communication skills, working in teams, collaborating, and then developing that thing. So it started with a thought or an idea, but they had to utilize academic concepts that they learned even as a little kid and just kept building and building. So part of my role, like I said, is exploring those three domains with students, helping them understand why social emotional learning is important, helping them see that their growth mindset can really help them to improve upon the things that their teachers are instructing them from K through third and beyond, and then helping them make those real world connections with college and career. So the goal of the counseling program is to really maximize every student's social emotional learning, academic, career, and developmental potential in order for them to become responsible citizens and lifelong learners. As adults, we know learning does not end when you graduate or even matriculate through an undergraduate program, right? We have to be lifelong learners, keep gathering information to support our family, support our goals, support our health, and acquire new knowledge as the world keeps advancing. So we really want our students to reach for the stars and spread their wings. After all, we are the Avalon Eagles, right? So we know that our students will go to great heights. They will pursue and achieve things that they never thought was possible. But Ms. Taylor reminds them every day to try their best. And we never know what our students can do until they try. So we want to encourage them to keep doing that. So again, I briefly touched on this, but within the counseling program, it's evidence-based, meaning the lessons that I deliver to students are based on research. It's data-informed, so I look at data, including our Infinite Campus data, our panorama information, our information from students, bus referrals. All of that information combined will help me to figure out what type of academic, social, emotional, and career programming will best meet our students' needs. So the program is broken down into 3 tiers, which is modeled after our academic program for our students. Tier 1 is what's called universal supports. So that means every student that walks through our door receives this information. It's for all students. So think of it broadly, the counseling curriculum. From Meet the Counselor, the first couple of months that I go in there and meet our students, And then classroom lessons. Those are topical and developmentally appropriate. And then PBIS, which are expectations for all students that our teachers so wonderfully reinforce at our school and encourage our students to be safe, to be respectful, to be responsible. And then our school-wide events, including Red Ribbon Week, and then our school-wide PBS celebrations, which students can take a part of. Tier 2 are the more targeted interventions. So that really focuses on about 10% of our students. That's going to be for some of our students who are needing more support. So think of it from an academic perspective. If the student has learned their sounds, they know sight words, they're reading, but they're not reading with the type of fluency that we want to see, then they are put into a small group where they can get more specific small group attention with 3 to 5, maybe up to 8 students at a time. The same thing happens from a counseling perspective. If we see a student is really struggling with emotional regulation, getting along with others or communicating effectively, then we're going to use that data that I talked about earlier with teacher consultation and other data sources in our school, and then we're going to find which group would most be helpful for this student. And groups range from social emotional topics to grief, to arts initiative. I'll expound a little bit later, but that's just a brief thing of what our Tier 2 looks like. For Tier 3, this is going to be our most intensive support. So students, they're represented in about 5% of our population. So it's going to be for the few students. Part of this process might include IAT, which is our group where we have our educators in our building get together. We review data, and then we see what supports, academic and behavioral, would be put in place to help students have the most success. Also in this, looking at data, we'll see if agency referrals would be helpful. So organizations such as Directions for Youth, which we have a clinician who is there every Friday for supports for our students and families, or Nationwide Children's Hospital, other agencies and community partners that would help our students at that Tier 3. And then Tier 3 is encompassed in our crisis report response. So members of our staff, including myself, the nurse, the psychologist, and our principal, Ms. Taylor, would also, and our peak teacher, which is Sarge, would also respond to those crisis interventions. So again, the school counseling program is comprehensive, evidence-based, data-informed. It's aligned to our building's vision and mission. And there are also pre-scheduled classroom lessons that I do, and it's based on our academic standards or in alignment with those as well. This is just use of time to get you to think about how a school counselor's time is used. It's a snapshot because in our building it's K through 3, so I'm going to spend a lot of time with students in the classroom, in small groups, and then an individual. It looks different for middle school and for high school. Middle school, they're doing more scheduling. They don't have time to push into the classrooms as much. And then high school, there's a lot of scheduling and also preparation for college. So just a quick snapshot. But basically, program components have core curriculum, which are lessons, individual student planning, responsive services, and then system support. So the counseling student referrals, school counseling, we're not therapists, so to speak, in the traditional form. We are educational counselors. So that means that we do brief, solution-focused support for problems that are affecting our students' focus or achievement in school. So students can self-refer, meaning they can utilize forms that are in every single one of our classrooms with their name, their teacher's name, the date, and then they let me know the reason why they want to see me. So that's one way a student can be seen in my office. Secondly, their classroom teacher or their specials teacher, so that's music, art, PE, those teachers can refer a student. Our principal, Ms. Taylor, can refer students, or parents. Parents, if you would like to refer a student, we do have a form, and it's online. You can access, and I'm going to ask Miss Edwards if she would send that out so graciously after this session. But that's an easy way for you to also make a referral. Additionally, you can complete a request to see a counselor. You can send me an email, or you can call me on the phone. And I'll have that information at the end of the presentation for the ways to contact me directly. In order to make a referral to an outside agency, you would need to contact me directly because we like to follow the tier system, as I stated earlier. So we'll really look for if a group would work best first. And then if it's something that's more intensive, then we will look and see which agencies that we currently partner with that could best meet your student or family's needs. So school counseling programs are calendared and they're done in advance. So I work with teachers and push into classrooms when it's convenient for them. And then that is able to meet their needs in a timely manner. Some of the topics that are included, Miss Edwards, I'm not sure what I did. Did I fix it? Okay, thank you. I'm trying not to touch the screen too much, but so one of the very first topics I do was meet the counselor. I'm brand new at Avalon, so I was meeting most of the students for the very first time. I also cover bullying prevention, college and career exploration, emotional regulation. So your students may have come home and talked about zones of regulation. So that is the name brand or the name of the curriculum that I utilize, but it's focusing on emotional regulation, how to stay in control of your emotions when you have a strong feeling. I also talk about growth mindset, kindness, grit, diversity, empathy, and believing in yourself. So those are some of the topics that they'll come home with. They do have worksheets that you'll see depending on the grade.